All right, let's dive into a classic Edgar Allan Poe tale about a terrifying monster sighting on a distant hillside. But, this is Poe we're talking about, so the real monster? Well, it might be a lot closer than you'd ever guess. Let's solve the mystery of the Sphinx.
Wow. Yeah, that's our narrator trying to describe something so horrifying it breaks the brain a little bit. It's the kind of vision that would shake anyone to their core, and it is the perfect setup for a classic Poe psychological thriller.
So that really is the question, isn't it? What happens when your worst fears literally appear right in front of you? Because Poe, he's not just spinning some monster yarn here. He's actually setting up this incredible mystery about fear itself and, how easily our own minds can play tricks on us.
Okay, first up, a mind primed for terror. See, to really get this monster, we've got to get inside the head of the guy who saw it. This story, it doesn't start with a big, loud roar. Nope. It starts with this quiet sense of dread that's already taken hold. The whole atmosphere is just suffocating. Seriously, try to imagine it. You're holed up in a cottage, totally isolated, but every single day you're getting news from the city. Another friend, another person you know, gone, taken by the cholera plague. The air itself, as Poe puts it, is just thick with death. So you can see this perfect storm just brewing in our narrator's head, right? He is completely consumed by the thought of death. He's binge reading books on superstition, basically convincing himself that bad omens are totally real. I mean, his mind is just this fertile ground, waiting for one little seed of terror to be planted. And to make things even juicier, his buddy is the exact opposite, a total man of logic. And that contrast, oh, it's going to be everything. All right, section 2, the horrifying vision. So, with our narrator in this super fragile, super fearful state, he glances out his window at a hill in the distance and, well, he sees something that just shouldn't be possible. And this isn't just a quick, did I see that moment? No. He watches this thing for a long time. He's trying so hard to talk himself out of it, to convince himself it's not real. But the vision is just too clear, too undeniable. And he has to conclude it's real. This isn't madness. It's not a dream. For him, this is happening. I mean, just look at these numbers. It's insane. Poe just buries you in these impossible details. It's bigger than a battleship. Its trunk, or proboscis, is 60 to 70 feet long. It's got wings that are nearly 100 yards each. It's got these massive tusks. He's not just describing some monster. This is like a world-ending, apocalyptic kind of beast. And then there's the detail that just seals the deal. The absolute knockout punch of terror. Right on its chest, covering almost the whole thing, is what looks like a death's head, a human skull. For a guy who's already obsessed with the plague, this isn't just some random monster. Oh no, this is death. Capital D, death, coming right for him. Okay, so number 3, omen, madness, or hoax. Our narrator is so shaken he doesn't talk about it for days. But then, the unthinkable happens. It comes back. And this is where the mystery really kicks into high gear. This moment is the huge turning point. He sees it again, clear as day. He's yelling, he's pointing, he's describing it crawling down the hill. But his friend, the rational one, he's looking right where he's pointing and sees absolutely nothing. Zero. So now our guy's trapped, right? He's got 2 terrifying options. Either this is some kind of supernatural omen of his death that only he can see, or he's actually going insane. And this really gets to the heart of the whole mystery. You've got 2 guys looking at the exact same spot, but they're living in totally different realities. One guy sees this supernatural monster born from his own fear. The other guy, he's all logic, and he just sees, well, a mistake, an error. And the whole story now hangs on one question. Who's right? So what do you think? Is this a ghost story? Is it a story about a guy just completely losing it? Or is there something else going on? Something that neither of them have even thought of yet. And now for part 4, a trick of perspective. This is where the friend's logical brain really kicks in. Instead of just writing our guy off as crazy, he starts to investigate the vision itself, like it's a science problem he needs to solve. Now, this might sound a little complicated, but the idea is actually beautiful and simple.
The friend basically says, you know where we mess up the most? We misjudge how close or far away things are, right? We see something, we guess the distance wrong, and suddenly our whole idea of how big it is or how important it is gets totally warped. So the friend grabs a book, a natural history book, and boom, he finds the first clue. He starts reading a description of an insect. It's got a rolled up proboscis, 4 wings, and, you're gonna love this, there's a specific kind of moth, the death's-headed Sphinx, that has markings on its back that look just like a human skull. Sound familiar? So the friend goes and sits in the exact same chair. He looks out the window, and he sees it. And he calmly tells the narrator what he's looking at. The actual size, 1/16 of an inch. Just a tiny little insect.
But wait, that's not the whole story. That's just the setup for the real twist. The insect wasn't on the hill a mile away. It was 1/16 of an inch away from the narrator's eyeball. It was crawling on a spider's thread, right there on the window pane.
And finally, part 5, the monster in our mind. Just like that, poof, the giant, terrifying monster is gone, replaced by a simple, logical explanation. But the answer to this little mystery, it reveals a much, much deeper truth. So there you have it. That was the answer all along. The narrator's eye couldn't focus on something that was so incredibly close, so his brain just projected the image of the moth onto the distant hill. And his mind, which was already jacked up on fear and superstition, did the rest. It filled in all the blanks and turned a tiny little bug into a massive, terrifying monster.
So, what's the big takeaway here? What's Poe really trying to say? Well, for one, that our reality is not set in stone. Our emotions, especially something as powerful as fear, act like a lens that can totally distort and magnify what we see. The story is just this brilliant little reminder that the scariest monsters aren't usually out there somewhere. They're the ones we cook up in our own heads. All it takes is a little trick of perspective.
And that kind of leaves us with one last question to chew on, right? What tiny monsters in your own life are being magnified by your perspective right now? We all have them. Worries that seem huge, problems that feel like giant monsters on a hill. But maybe, just maybe, like in Poe's story, all we need is a little shift in perspective to see them for what they really are.